Welcome back everyone to playing on Unreal Engine, becoming a dungeon prop artist, and this is where we left you off. Alright, so let's move this one over here, and what I want to do is obviously seal this in a canister of some kind. So I could use this, but I don't think so. I think it's better actually if we use a circle. So I'm just going to bring in a circle. You can see I brought my circle in here. That's not actually where I wanted it, or I could use it there if I move these both out of the way, like so, and then I actually bring this to the center here. So I think I'm going to actually get rid of my circle. So L, delete vertices. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reset the transformation. So all transforms, right click to origins geometry, shift S, selection to cursor, 7 to go over the top. And you can also see, I do have a problem in that I can't even see it because I forgot to bring in my actual solidify. Let's do that first then. Let's not jump the gun. So first of all, solidify, turn it down, even thickness on, and then something around, let's say, yeah, round about the thickness. I think that's round about, maybe, yeah, that's around about the right thickness. All right, so as well, while we're here, let's have a look. And is this actually going to be long enough? Probably not. Let's make it a little bit longer while we're here. Then let's press Control A. And now if we go over the top, I can actually see what I'm doing. All right, so now let's press Shift A and we'll bring in a mesh and circle. And there we go. Let's make sure it's on 16 at the moment. Let's put it on 20. Let's bring it down then, like so. And now let's actually give this up to here. So I'm thinking probably up to here. So if I look at my reference, we can see that the scroll is just actually stuck out a little bit. So maybe up to there, something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and then we'll bring in another mirror. So add modifier mirror on the Z, take away the X, apply the mirror, press tab, and now we should be able to just come in and add in a bridge edge loops, and there we go. All right, now of course this needs some thickness before we do anything, so let's actually do that. I'm going to make it slightly thicker than the actual scroll. I'm also thinking I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, which means if I make it a little bit smaller, I'm going to have to pull it out a little bit, as you can see. So I'm going to pull it out a little bit and try and get it into a better place. And then what I'll do is I'll make the actual solidify go the other way. Now, because I made it smaller, as you can see, now it's stuck out a long way. So I just need to pull that out. So as said, pull it out a little bit like so. And now let's add in a solidify. So come in, add a solidify, press 7 to go over the top. And let's bring it outwards the other way like so. And you can see it's much, much thicker than the actual scroll. All right, let's press Control A on that. So we need to press Tab first. So in an object mode, Control A. And now we can actually free to bring in those ends. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press 3 to go into side view, or 1, whichever makes it easiest. Press Control R, press 2, left click, right click. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these out now. So S and Z, pull them out like so. And then finally, I'm going to press Control B and pull them out nearly to the ends, not quite. E to extrude and enter, and then press Alt S, and then you can pull them out relatively straight, and you should end up with something like that. That's looking really, really nice. All right, let's shade it smooth. Let's bring in our auto smooth. Let's do the same thing then on our scroll. So shade smooth, auto smooth, and we should end up with something like this. Now we just need those ends that are going to come out. So again, we're going to use pretty much the same techniques as what we've been using. So Shift A, let's bring in, again, a cylinder. I'm going to do just one on each end. So I'm going to make it smaller and then just mirror it over. I don't want it running all the way through. We don't actually need that because you're not going to be able to see it. Let's press S. And then what you want to do is you want to just line this up now. So you can see at the moment, it's not lining up. It wants to be lining up round about where this is. Maybe make this a little bit bigger, like so. And now it looks as though this scroll's actually wrapped around there. All right, so I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually press Tab. I'm going to come to the top of it. I'm going to press I, bring this part in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press E, pull it out, like so. And now I want to have that nice end on here. So I'm going to press E, enter S, pull it out, and then E, pull it up, like so. And just make sure I'm happy with the actual sizing of this, which maybe I am. Maybe I want to make it just a little bit bigger. So S, and then E, and then S, like so. Yeah, I think that looks a ton better. All right, so I'm happy with that. The one thing I think is I just want to drop this down. So Alt Shift and click, drop it down a little bit, like so. Yeah, that's looking really nice. Now let's press Control A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, and now let's just bevel off this top because this top I'm not very happy with. So I'm going to press Control B, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the amount of segments. You can see the shape is completely wrong, so let's just turn it up and make it nice and rounded like so. And now we'll come to the bottom part, and then Alt, Shift and click, Control B, and just bevel that off as well. And you can see that we've got a few issues down there, and we don't really want those. So let's reduce those to maybe, yeah, we'll keep those at 3. Now, I'm just looking now and making sure that I'm happy with this bottom bit, because if I'm not happy with it, I can actually fix it on here. I think what I'll do is just bevel this part off very slightly. So if I grab this, press Control B, yeah, like so, and then just reduce it back maybe. Let's have a look at that. I'm just going to right click, shade smooth, auto smooth on, double tap the A. And actually, that's looking perfect. That's exactly how I want it. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to grab this part, and we need to reset all transforms, right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and let's now add in a modifier, and we're going to bring in a mirror, put it on the Z, turn off the X, and there we go. Hopefully that should be in the right place. And now I can just come in, press Control A, and join this now all together, Control J, and there we go. Let's spin it round. So R, Y, 90. We didn't join it all together, so I'm going to grab this and this, Control J, and then R, X or Y, 90, spin it round, R, Z, 90. There we go. That looks fantastic. Okay, happy with that. Now we need one more then. So we need the open scroll now. So the way we're going to do that is pretty much exactly the same way as what we've been working with. Shift A, and let's bring in a curve, and we're going to bring in spiral. We're going to take down the number of turns. So take them down probably all the way. Actually, if you can see now, it might make it easier like that. Let's turn it up just one more. You can see that that's probably going to be too much if I actually do it there. So I'll just turn it down. I think to there. So it's just bent a little bit. Now, if you do want to add in another one, you can come in, of course, grab one of these, and then all you've got to do, because I'm over the top like this, I can just press E. Just make sure that you keep it kind of the same distance here, and then you can just press E again, and then E again, and then you'll see now that we've got that actual shape that we're looking for. So that's exactly what we want. Now, while we're over the top and pressing 7, we're just going to pull it this way. And then what I want to do now is I just want to flatten this one out and then join, mirror it basically over, as you can see. So let's come in, flatten this one out. So I think what I'll do to flatten it out is I'll grab both of these, press S and X, and then you can see that if I press S and X a couple of times, I can actually flatten it out really nice and out. Now let's grab this, press Control A, all transforms, and then let's come in and add in a mirror. So a mirror modifier over on the Y, turn that off. And there you go. Just realize how far you want these spread out from each other. You can imagine how big this scroll is going to be. I think something like that is actually absolutely fine. Now with the mirror, we could come in and grab this here, and then we could pull it out. Remember, we have no actual vertex or edge select or anything like that, because we're still working with an actual curve. So just remember that. What I want to do is I want to put clipping on. And what I'll mean is as I bring them out, it will join them both together. And now if I press E and Y, I can actually pull them, and you can see where they meet now in the center. And that's basically what I want to do. All right, so now what I want to do is I just want to come to Object, Convert to Mesh. And there we go, we end up with something like that. Now let's think about mirroring them once more. So I'm going to come down here, and then going to grab each one of these, because I want to bring them in. So if I come to, let's say this one and this one, and I want to bring them up. So I'm going to bring them up with proportional editing on. So bring them up, pull out your proportional editing like so. And what you're going to do by doing that is you want to make them a little bit uneven. I've gone a little bit too far, as you can see. I also want to make sure that connected only is on, and I want to bring them out like so. Now you can see that they're going to go in a little bit, so that's going to make it really nice to scroll. All right, so now I want the actual, how wide is this? So I want to pull it out like so. And again, Control A for transforms and mirror modifier. So mirror on the Z this time, turn off the X. Yeah, and I think that's going to be absolutely fine. Now let's come in, apply that, and now find that we can come in with A, make sure on edge select, and right click, bridge edge loops. And there we go, as simple as that. And you can see just how easy that was. Now on this one, we do actually want to cut these parts away. So I'm going to go in now, and I'm actually going to press K, and I'm going to start cutting just certain parts of these away. So I think I'm going to cut, actually, that's not going to work like that. So I'm just going to right click, press Control Z, and now I'm going to press K and come in, and we can see that I can grab it. Actually, that's not working either. I'm going to press Escape, then press K, and now it's going to work. There we go. That's what I wanted, like so. All right, now I'm just going to work my way around. Again, like we did with the other scrolls, I'm just going to cut my parts away. And I think I'm just going to do this one, and then we'll just end the lesson here, because time is getting on a little bit. So I'm just going to go around and do this one. And then when we come back on the next lesson, we'll actually come in, get rid of these, and that will be basically our scrolls actually finished as far as the modeling part goes. So I'm just going to tear it away. And on these bits, I tend to just tear a little bit more away, like so, making it pretty uneven. All right, I'm going to go out, save my work, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.